Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be Kris Krohn's 10 things you should buy and my reaction to those. Let's go ahead and continue.
All right, number 6, business. Invest in business. Be an entrepreneur. Now you gotta understand something about businesses. 50% of them fail in the first year. By year 5, 96% of them have failed. A lot of businesses don't work out, but you know what? Why are we taking that risk with our money? Because there's a chance that it can do way more for you than a job ever could. The reality is that we're gonna run out of working years, and you can calculate the money a job's gonna pay you, and if it's not enough, it's guaranteed broken, and you know that now, so you need to do something different. And for a lot of us, that's entrepreneurship. So just be thinking, how do I set money aside for the right business when it comes along that I can act on it?
Okay, so number 6 item that Kris talks about here is investing in a business. Now, we touched on this briefly before, and you guys know where I stand on this. I personally wouldn't have it any other way, but I've also had certain advantages when it comes to taking that type of a risk. Kris goes on to mention that 50% of businesses fail within the first year, 96% within the first 5 years. I didn't realize that number was quite so high. And I could see why that would negatively influence somebody's decision to pursue entrepreneurship. One of the advantages that I had was I didn't have children when I was starting off as an entrepreneur. And because of that, it gave me a sense of peace of mind that there weren't other mouths to feed. And if I were to fail and fall flat on my face, really I would only be the only person affected by that. And I could just get back up, dust myself off, and start again. For those of you that are further along and you have families to consider, it really is going to boil down to a transitional period. He's right, you have to be looking for all the different ways where you can generate revenue now. It is a completely different time than it was 5 or 6 years ago. They say it's not about what you know anymore, it's about how fast you learn, and I completely agree with that. If you are an entrepreneur in your spirit, if you know that your life is designed or is intended to be bigger than just simply working a day job, then my recommendation to you is to use YouTube as a starting point to do the research necessary. Be patient about your decision making, and don't be afraid to purchase products and programs and services, including mentorship and coaching, similar to what we provide on the financial side, but within your business. We hire mentors and we buy resources regularly. I just literally made another $99 per month purchase today for a software program that I cannot wait to reveal to you guys, and how that can affect additional income streams within real estate for me. It gives me every bit of data I could ever possibly imagined regarding real estate. So we should be able to pick up some great deals, and I'm gonna show that software to you guys in a future video. So again, make sure you're a subscriber. But when it comes to business, you're right. Kris is exactly right. If you are never looking for entrepreneurship, then this conversation and this specific item isn't for you. That's completely okay. There's nothing wrong and no judgment from me for those of you that are doing what you want to do 9 to 5 and you're doing it for somebody else. Good for you. Happiness is the key. But for those of you that are looking at that and going, I'm destined for better, I deserve better, I don't want to make anybody else rich, and I really truly want freedom of mobility, I want freedom of choice, I want to be able to go anywhere, anytime, and I never want to worry about price tags. You can make way more money in entrepreneurship than with anything else. And there are ways of being an entrepreneur within real estate as well. It doesn't have to boil down to either short-term buy and hold or long-term buy and hold. It doesn't have to boil down to the risk-taking of fixing and flipping. You could consider the Little Pink Houses of America entrepreneurship opportunity. That is a phenomenal playlist if you haven't looked at it already. Ways of making 15, 30, 45,000 bucks every single month. You can obviously get into the short-term rental business. It's another area that we've talked a lot about here on this channel as well. Lots of money to be made every single month from that too. So these are things that we're experimenting with as well, but I do obviously agree with Kris here that I wouldn't have it any other way. And if you are a W-2 wage earner, don't simply put in your 2 weeks notice and dive into something without any experience or proof of concept. My recommendation is you have to gradually transition, put in a ton of time. I'm talking full-time hours after work. So you're now putting in, instead of 40 or 50 hours a week, you're putting in 80 or 100 hours every week. And guess what? Welcome to the club, guys. That's what all of us had to do as entrepreneurs along the way, is really commit to it. So you got to show conviction with this. You've got to be consistent. It's the #1 ingredient for it to work. All right, let's go ahead and see what he says for number 7.
Okay, number 7. What should you spend your money on? Other investments. This this is really, really big. I got this from Tony Robbins. I was at his $10,000 business event. And Tony was teaching this principle. He's like, okay, investing in business is investing in you. Investing in whole life is investing in you. Investing in real estate, that's investing in properties outside of you. Investments that are outside of you can have a way higher likelihood of working out than investing in yourself. You may not be the best bet. Right now, I met a kid who in the world has taken a $120,000 prosthetic and figured out how to take it to market for $5,000 through 3D printers. Just for a moment, think of that incredible innovation. Think of the value it's creating. I could have never come up with that. So investing in other people, that's one of the wealth principles of where I put money is I don't put it all on me. I'm not the smartest person. There's smart people that are out there. Some people are incredibly smarter, and I'm gonna take a bet on them. I'm gonna invest in them, and I'm not gonna put all my eggs in one basket.
All right, so number 7, and I love Kris's energy, guys. I remember when I first met Kris, it must have been back in 2011 or 12. He was recommended by a client of ours, a coaching member, who said, you've got to meet this guy. He's killing it in real estate. And so I did. I went down. He happened to be in Denver. He's from Utah. I went down and met him at this small event he was teaching, walked into the room, and I mean, the guy was dressed to the nines. And when he came into the room, you know, he's a big guy. He's tall, he's fit, but he just kind of steals the attention in the room. I mean, you can feel his presence, and I like that. I just think his energy on video is fun too. But he talks, in this case, about diversifying your investments and investing in other people's products, programs, and services. Folks, literally last week, I went to the bank and deposited another $3,500 and change at Chase into my account. Now, that was just mailbox money that was waiting for me when I got back into town after being in New York last week. $3,500 and change? Folks, this is over $500,000 at this point. In fact, it's over $600,000 that's been generated through discussing other people's products, programs, and services that we deeply vet and obviously in most cases research ourselves, where we're actually experimenting with the product or the program or service. And if we can see that it's going above and beyond and that the return on the investment is substantial, then we obviously want to make that readily available to anybody that has a need for the solution. And as we practice that habit, that goes back to 2009. It was the first time I ever realized that this was something you could do. At that time, we were doing a lot of radio. In fact, we were recording 71 hour-long weekly radio shows. And during the broadcasts, we would talk a lot about credit. And I informed people at that time there was only one way that you could access your actual FICO credit scores, which was through myfico.com. Credit Karma and a lot of these other credit scoring providers weren't available, especially for free. And so by just simply pointing people in that direction, we were able to make a small commission. In fact, it was under $20, it was $19 and change. And that was on each and every purchase. Well, guess what? Because of our exposure, we were generating anywhere between 500 and 600 new signups each and every month, which was bringing in at that point, in some cases, over $10,000 every month. That was my first taste at affiliate income. Affiliate income is one of the single best ways of generating revenue. It's not the only way. I know Kris in this specific talking point, I think, is talking about investing into other types of businesses in other ways as well, perhaps as an equity owner. But there are a lot of benefits to coming into somebody's pre-existing proven concept where you can double check reputations, you can see that there's a long history of success, and you don't have to go out and reinvent any wheels. So definitely like this talking point, and for us, it's worked seemingly magically from an affiliate relation standpoint. I mean, I couldn't have asked for more, so I like this one too.
Here's number 8, invest in a mentor. Educate yourself. Wisdom, learning, knowledge, you gotta grow.
So the 8th item that Kris recommends you purchase and spend money on is a mentor or a coach. Now, having created a mentorship program where we help people maximize their cash flow, I obviously support this. I do want to add the caveat, of course, that the mentor or coach has to be qualified, because I think that you can have equally negative results if you are dealing with people who simply aren't compatible for your needs. So very important to do the upfront legwork. I generally, in this situation, recommend a very simple Google search. Because we live in the best time to be alive, it's very easy to go online and really see what the history of that person's experience is. I actually was feeling very similarly about Kris Krohn when I first met him. It's obvious he's successful. And when I went to his house, which was the second time that I met him, I flew down to Utah. And again, this was back in probably 2012. You know, Kris had me over for dinner and I was very impressed. And I think that's probably part of the strategy when you reach certain milestones of accomplishment being able to showcase those to other people, it goes a long way in developing credibility. But he was the real deal. And if you see somebody else that's in a space that's similar to what you're in already, or you're wanting to be in that space, emulation is key. Russell Brunson talks a lot about emulation as well. It's not about going out and plagiarizing somebody and stealing their brand. It's about creating your own identity within those similar concepts and using similar strategies. That's why our coaching is so successful. If you haven't gotten your money right, Kris talks about it in this talking point that it's because of a behavior issue. You think that's going to change now? You think that having $10,000 worth of credit card balances today is somehow going to magically fix itself 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now? Look back 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. How much credit card debt did you have then? Kris references the parallel between money and your nutrition and says, look, if you're the type of person that you put on 5, 10 pounds during the winter season, you take it off during swimsuit season, hey, you know what? That's a pattern of behavior. You think you're realistically going to change that on your own? Chances are not. History shows that you won't. So why not in that case just simply accept that you may not be the best person to be involved or to lead those changes? Maybe you need somebody else there to help hold you accountable and design a better roadmap for yourself. And this goes well beyond what a lot of people think of when they hire traditional mentors and coaches. I mean, at the end of the day, hiring someone like me to help you get your money in the place you need it is no different than going out and hiring an attorney if you were sued. If you were sued for $200,000, I know for a fact you'd go to an attorney and hire one immediately. You wouldn't think twice about a $10,000 retainer for a $200,000 lawsuit, but you don't connect those same dots when you're about to spend $200,000 too much on your mortgage interest. You wouldn't come after a coach to help you restructure a roadmap to prevent that. You're thinking too small, folks, if you're thinking that doing something yourself is the right way. Every single team member that we work with, that we hire, is a mentor or a coach. My branding manager, who's sitting here with me right now behind the camera, Mike, he is a mentor and a coach to me regarding making these videos. This isn't my specialty. I'm not a videographer or an editor. I'm a finance guy. So build a team. And building a team means mentorship and coaching in all forms and fashion. And if you're not planning on doing that, you're not a real entrepreneur.
Number 9, it's going to surprise you a little bit. Invest in experiences, right? Buy experiences.
So on the 9th item, Kris encourages people to spend their money on experiences. Now, as a lifestyle design channel, I am not the Dave Ramsey approach advocate whereby we just simply get our money in order, and most of the time we're going to be doing that through sacrifice and restriction and eating beans and rice. While I think there is a time and place for cutting things back and really pulling in the reins, once you've surpassed that, and oftentimes at a certain age, it's just not a realistic or desirable approach. My goal is to obviously live an abundance-based lifestyle. My purpose in life is obviously to do everything I personally choose to do, and it's a balance between selfishness and generosity. It's a balance between minimalism and materialism. I have an appreciation for both sides of that, and I realize a lot of other people do as well. So maybe you can relate to a bit of that, but my point is, if you're the type of person that doesn't want to give up lifestyle, then it is an extremely important aspect to figure out what affordability you have towards experiences, and then design a specific list of items that are really important to you. And you've got to stay active. You know, Kellyanne and I take the Jeep up both camping and hiking regularly so that we can enjoy the space around us. But while it's not free, it's pretty inexpensive. I mean, it simply costs the gasoline and obviously stocking up on food and drinks. But ultimately, the experience itself didn't cost anything. Now, we also do things like Kris mentions in this, where he travels the world. Travel's been a huge part of my entire life. My grandmother started a travel agency that's still flourishing. I have absolutely no idea how they managed to survive the introduction of the internet, but they're one of the few travel agencies that have, and they kick serious ass. And it's allowed me and my entire family to be really heavily involved in traveling my entire life. My mother worked there as a travel agent. My aunt still works there as a travel agent. My other aunt and uncle own it now today. My cousin is poised to take over the agency. So this has been a deep, deep part of our lives. And in fact, just recently, Kellyanne and I were able to sail in Greece for an entire week on a catamaran, 45-foot catamaran. And it was one of the most adventurous experiences of my life, but also very expensive. costs somewhere in the neighborhood of about $10,000 to enjoy that. So again, this is a balance between being able to get out there and seek adventure and memories and not just simply making it about professional money-making behaviors. Okay, so be balanced. It's going to help contribute towards your success in a big way. Let's find out what the 10th item is and wrap this up.
Number 10 goes along with it. Purpose. What should you buy? Buy your purpose. Now, I'm not saying go on to Amazon.com and look up what's my purpose and then check out. I'm talking about get clear every day a little bit more on who you are, what lights you up inside, and pour money into that. By the way, whether that's consuming money or whether that's investing money. So invest in your purpose. Your purpose might ask for money here, or travel here, or go here, or do this, or buy this. And you know what? At the end of the day, I don't want to take a pile of money to my grave. I want to take a full life to my grave.
So number 10. Last and not least is buying or investing into your purpose. I like this one. I wouldn't have personally come up with it, so it's sort of expanded the way I'm thinking about it. But yeah, I think it goes back to number 9. Investing in experiences, but purpose. And I just was thinking through, my year, and I've had a lot of really fun adventures this year, especially on the professional side, right? I mean, professionally, we invested in our first Airbnb. And man, did that require a lot of hands-on effort. It was a big first few months of getting that property into a position where it was ready to generate money, and it's really sort of started transitioning into a bit of an autopilot situation now. But it was a lot of purpose, and frankly, I felt a bit of a gap in my day-to-day once that project began coming to an end. I was excited when I woke up, I was excited when I went to bed, and every day was a new experience getting that ready, and I was doing a lot of what I really love, which is decorating and preparing for guest experiences. And I like preparing for other people to have a really great experience. It's been something I've always been passionate about. So being able to invest into my own passion and in my own purpose, I really had a daily purpose, and it took a lot of time. I mean, it took probably about 8 hours a day minimum. So I guess I wouldn't have thought about that before, and I think it's great. And guess what? It also makes a lot of money. He's encouraging both investing into purpose as well as consuming money for purpose, not just putting money into things that make you money. And I tend to agree. He mentions he doesn't want to go to the grave with a lot of money. He would rather go to the grave with a full life. And there's something to be said about that. I also would like to go to the grave with a whole bunch of transferable income streams that I can pass along to my loved ones. So that's not a big pile of money, but it is money every month residually that will help support somebody else's quality of life, somebody I love. So, I get more excited, I think, about a balance of both of those things. But on the other hand, we just adopted Dolce, and Dolce is just the most adorable little puppy ever, and she has just brought such joy into our lives. But if you go back and watch the video we launched a few months ago, you'll see that owning dogs is really expensive, and it has been expensive. I mean, it cost us $500 just to adopt her. And then all of the items that we've purchased since then, it's added up already. I mean, we're definitely over $1,000 at this point, and I've heard of people spending way, way more than that to get the dog of their dreams. So that, on the other hand, is a consumption of money, but it has brought so much purpose into both Kellyanne and my lives because we're able to obviously wake up every day and just be absorbed with love. It's been absolutely phenomenal. So guys, this is my reaction to Kris Krohn. Go ahead and leave a comment below. Would you like to see me reach out to Kris and decide whether or not we can start to introduce you and challenge some of the concepts he has regarding real estate? Obviously, it doesn't fall directly into my specific organized list of priorities when it comes to how we go about generating quick cash flow versus long-term net worth, but I'd love to hear what he says about that. Is that something that you guys would like to hear from this channel? Leave a comment below. Go ahead and scream yes with an exclamation point if you'd like that. Are you familiar with Kris already? Are you working with Kris already? Drop a like on this video if you want us to continue to do more reactions to other big YouTubers and some of their advice. And who might that be? I'd love to see that in the comments below. Guys, I really appreciate your time today. If you have not yet claimed your one free coaching session, make sure you do that by going to freecoachingcalendar.com. Claim that free coaching session. We're here to help you guys. You got to invest in yourself. And if you're ready to make the investment and you don't want to wait for the free session because you're serious about your money, the thing that affects you every day, every month, every year until you die, then go ahead and claim a quick start vacancy. Let's get rolling, guys. Let's get your money turned around and get you on that path to wealth. We'll look forward to seeing you on the next video. You can go ahead and watch Kris's full-length video by checking the link in the description as well. Till we see you on the next one. Make it a great day today and take care.